What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Let's get into the video today, which is focused on USPSA and the gear you're going to need to go shoot it. So if you didn't see my last video, which was about my Staccato P with some modifications on it, I ran kind of like a USPSA stage, and I mentioned something about my gear. I did get like one or two DMs on Instagram, which go follow me there, about my setup. And then I have noticed lately, I don't know if it's just lately, but on Reddit and stuff like that, a lot of people are interested in shooting USPSA. So I'm planning on doing a series here of gear you're going to need to start. Then the next video will be how to actually shoot your first USPSA match. And then we could go from there with some like drills and stuff like that if people are interested. But let's go over today the gear you're going to need to shoot your first USPSA match. But real quick, if you want to support the channel in any way, use the links down below. We have a link to Pewta.com, which is some merch, got some cool hats, some shirts. You can support the channel like that. I do have a discount code for Siley Optics. If you don't trust them, you could go watch the torture test videos I did of their optics, or you could use the Amazon links down below of some random stuff seen in the videos. Or if you don't want to spend any money, just hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and all that stuff. And let's get back to the video. So we're under a little carport here because the sun is blaring today and we're not trying to roast. But let's get into the gear you're going to need to shoot your first USPSA match. So if you don't feel like watching the whole video and you want to save yourself some time, my answer is pretty much just use the stuff you have already. Most cases it's going to work. But if you want to go a little bit more in depth because you're not completely sure if the stuff you have is legal for USPSA, we'll just go over some of the stuff that I have, some of the stuff I've used throughout the year. So I have been shooting USPSA for a little over a year and a half, 2 years. And these are some of the things I learned. I will show you the first belt that I started off with, and then what we changed over to, and then other stuff you can use. All right, so we're gonna go over some of the gear that I've used over my career shooting USPSA. I'll show you my first setup, then what I graduated to or whatever, and then another setup you can use. Kind of have like the tactical start to the gamer start, and then you can do concealed carry if you want. We'll go over the belts first, then if you're still sticking around after that, we could go over some of the extra gear you're going to need or want with you when you go to the range to shoot USPSA. Most competition belts, until we get into concealed carry, are a two-piece design. So you have your outer belt, your inner belt. They Velcro to each other. The inner belt is going to be what you put through your belt loops. Then the outer belt goes around the outside of that. Everything stays in place nice and tight. So when you're dry firing, live firing, reloads, drawing, and all that stuff, everything's in the same place so you don't have an extra variable of shooting. Once again, this is not a necessity for your first match, but this is highly recommended. Let's go into the first belt that I used. So getting into the first setup that I used, this is my tactical battle belt. There's more of a chance you guys have a belt like this sitting around instead of like a gamer USPSA style belt. This is a Safariland ALS holster. It has a little thumb thing that locks it in place. The belt itself is an AWS belt. It is pretty stiff. Like I was saying before, you want something to be able to hold up its own weight. And the mag pouches you have from GBRS Group, there's 2 pistol pouches and a rifle mag pouch. This was for me LARPing in the desert and just having fun. And I believe I also shot my first PCSL match with this, which was a couple months ago. So this is what I shot pretty much my first year and even my first major with this. So just for reference, if you have a setup like this, you're going to be completely fine. All right, now we will get into my USPSA gamer belt, if you will. I've been running this belt at about September, October of 2024, and I've already made some modifications to it since then. So just to start, the base belt itself is from Shooter's Connection. So this is not a very expensive belt. I think it was like 30, 40 something bucks. I actually won this in the raffle at my first major that I shot with my other belt. So this original belt actually was a lot longer on this end, and you just put it on and pull it as tight as you can by hand and Velcro it to itself. I eventually wanted to be able to get it tighter than that. So I bought this little ratcheting system from, I don't remember where, let's see. There's a website on here, m2inc.biz. I actually wound up cutting the belt, which this specific one is made out of a thick plastic. They do have ones that are metal on the inside. I wound up cutting the belt, sizing it up, and that's why I have a ratchet on it. Ratchet goes in the front, so I could get it nice and tight. So moving on from there, we do have the Ghost 360 mag pouches. These mag pouches have a little adjustment, a little plastic adjustment screw on it. So right now I have it set up so it takes my double stack carry optics gun. I shoot an M&P 2.0. So those will just sit right in there. There's a good, I've never had them fall out yet. And then you can adjust this screw out. This is a 2011 magazine. You can adjust it where, maybe I should adjust it. You just kind of unscrew this little piece there, adjust it, then you can get your 2011 magazine in there. So it's kind of a one size universal fits all. All you have to do is adjust that screw. The only thing I'm not crazy about with these mag pouches is that the back connector piece is plastic, but these are very affordable mag pouches. It does come with actually 4 of them, so you could set them up so your bullets are facing forward, or it comes with a different mag pouch that you flip it 90 degrees and your bullets would be facing out. Some people like it one way, some people like it the other way. You do you. Moving back, I don't use this for USPSA, but if I shoot PCSL again, this is a Blade Tech AR mag. Sometimes if I'm shooting a stage that's a lot of rounds, I will just stuff an extra magazine in it just to hold it, just in case, but this is not needed. This is not needed for USPSA, but you don't have to take it off, if that makes sense. So this is the Boss hanger from the Ben Steger Pro Shop. The holster, I don't know where it's from. This came with my first M&P that I bought off a friend, and he didn't remember where he got it from. And then I do have that mounted on Safariland QLS. So this is the one thing I was talking about with the universalness of these mag pouches. Get a QLS plate and the fork. This is my M&P. Now I take my priority one for my staccato, put that on, loosen these screws, now I can shoot my staccato. I almost forgot while filming the gamer portion of the belt. The other thing I do have on it is a magnet. This is also from Ghost, the same people that make the mag pouches. This is not a necessity, but this is a very nice convenience. Take your magazine, put it there, done. This is very good for the beginning of beginning of a stage. You have your 2 magazines on your belt, then you have your third right there. At the end of the stage, unload and show clear, take your mag out, right on the magnet, rack the round out, check it, holster, done. So it's convenience, not needed, but a very nice convenience. So then the last holster / belt setup, then we'll get into like magazine length and stuff like that, would be your concealed carry. So this is a concealed carry holster. It doesn't need the spare magwell, but I would suggest having a spare magwell if you're gonna do that. Nice sturdy belt. This is the Hunter Constantine concealed carry belt. So this has the stiff section in the front with the elastic back. So it's pretty comfortable. I do have a video on that, so you could go watch that if you want. But obviously with this, you won't have to worry about the distance from the belt or being over the belt, because it is. Your local level 1 match, which is just like your local range, probably won't care about this stuff. But there are different measurements for the different divisions you're shooting in. So a staccato, a single action gun like this has to be in limited optics. I believe for all divisions, the butt of the gun has to be above the belt. So as you can see, we have that. For every division, there is a distance that your gun can be from your belt. So the easy way to do this, you could look up the rule book, but I would say the 2 most common divisions would be limited optics and carry optics. Limited optics, Limited optics, it would be 3 3/8 inches from the belt to the closest part of the grip of the gun. Then for carry optics, which is the other popular one, it is 2 1/8 inch. So the easy way to do this, I guess I actually thought about this, is you could take a credit card. So the short distance is 2 1/8, the long distance is 3 3/8. So what you do, this is a limited optics gun, you go from your belt to the grip of the gun, and as long as you could touch the grip at some point with the card, you're good. This is a legal setup. Like I said, level 1 matches, they're probably not going to care. So your other thing with holster placement, the butt of the gun has, like I was saying earlier, the butt of the gun has to be above the top of the belt. Drop leg holsters, the ones that are like down here somewhere, those can be allowed, but I think the stipulation in the rule book says you have to be like law enforcement or military or something like that, and the match director allows it. I've seen before someone had that and they just bumped them to the open division. So email your match director if you have questions about something like that. So now we're going to get into the magazines. I would recommend having at least 3 magazines to go to your first match, especially if you have like a full-size gun and carry about 17 rounds each. You'll probably be good with that. Usually not shooting to an empty magazine, so it's your first match. You shouldn't have to care about that. Just shoot. Don't get disqualified. Be safe. At my range, usually stages will max out in the mid-30s. Each every once in a while we'll have like a 40-round stage, but so if you have 3 17-round magazines, you'll have more than enough. That's 51 rounds. You don't have to worry about it. My magazines, I have three of them on me. I could carry 24 rounds in the magazine, so we're at, what is that, 72 rounds? Got plenty. So, like I said, recommend would be about three magazines. Then the one thing to note with your magazines is the length of them. So right here I have a standard M&P magazine with some snap caps in it with, I think this is a 21 round mag. I could be wrong, I forget that. But this is too long for carry optics. This is the right size for carry optics, and this could carry 24 rounds. Your max magazine size, I forget exactly where you measure it, but for carry optics and most of the divisions is 141.25 millimeters. And then when you get into your open division, or I think production or limited, but open division 171, that's when you can get a big magazine. So technically this magazine would put you in the open division if you're shooting a major match, but your local matches are probably not going to care. Like I said, that's a little asterisk. They probably won't care. You probably check with them, but you can show up with this. No one's really going to question you. I think SIG has a magazine that holds like 20 something rounds also, that's just over lengthwise also. Just something to keep note. This was a 17 round magazine with an extended base pad on it with non-lockback followers, so you could get an extra couple rounds because of the non-lockback followers. So if I just put these side by side, you can see the height difference in it. So legal, not legal. So that's just something to keep in mind when you are getting your gear together. So we went over the belt setups, the magazines. Let's go over your holster now. So like I was saying earlier, this is an M&P 2.0. This is the 5-inch gun. So you're going to want something made out of Kydex or stiff plastic of some sort, so you don't have any floppiness reholstering your gun. The other thing you need, it needs to cover the trigger guard. So if you're not covering the trigger guard, no bueno, straight to jail. That is pretty much the main thing to be safe and shoot USPSA. You want to be covering the trigger guard. There are some like race style holster things that like just lock into the trigger guard, which kind of freak me out, but they hold the guns no problem. Depending on the division you're in, you can have different types of holster setups. Carry optics, it needs to be like a holster. Like I said, you could always email your match director, or worst case, they just drop you in the open division and you shoot there. So we're just gonna go over a couple more things you're gonna need with you. So hearing protection, eye protection, definitely gonna need some ammo. And then you don't need it, but some sort of loading device to help you load your magazines, because like I said, you're shooting sometimes upwards of 30 plus rounds, and you have to reload all those at the end of your stage to get ready for the next stage. So just saves your thumbs. You don't have to have it, but a couple extra batteries for random stuff. I would suggest bringing some sort of lubrication so you can relube your gun. Then the other thing people do, I am guilty of not doing this literally ever, is cleaning your magazines. In between each stage, a lot of people will actually download the magazines completely, take them apart, and clean out the inside. So depending on your magazine, it may be easier or harder to do it. So you could always keep that in mind, but at least know how to take your magazines apart. So if you get rocks and stuff in them, because as you can see, the ground here is very gravelly. So just at least know how to take your magazines apart, or if they require a tool, have that tool with you, just in case if you get rocks and your magazines get jammed up. But a lot of people have either like a pipe cleaner, or they will take a rag, put a zip tie on the end so they could feed the zip tie through and then pull the rag through. Just clean out all the crap. You don't need it, but sometimes it's good. So I'm going to end it there. I'm sure I probably forgot some stuff you need for USPSA, but like I was saying earlier, just kind of shoot the stuff you have already. If you shoot one gun better than your other gun, just shoot that gun. You don't want the other variables messing with your head. This could possibly be the first time you've ever moved and shot, like if you've been shooting at an indoor range or just shooting at one bay the whole time and you've never moved before. or you're not used to reloading while running, like there's a ton of different variables, or retreating, or like you start at the beginning of the stage and you have to work your way to the back and not breaking the 180. So you just want to use the gun that you're most comfortable with and that you know you're going to shoot pretty good. I'm sure I forgot some stuff that you may or may not need. Let me know down below if you have any questions about the stuff you saw in the video or anything you want a little bit more detail on. The next video in this series will be how to shoot your first USPSA match. Depending when you're watching this video, it may or may not be out. If it's out, it'll be linked right here. I want to thank you guys for joining me. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave some comments down below. Use the links in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Get out there and shoot.